This is Hammer Striker here. Today we're going to talk about another Springfield Armory entry into the concealed carry market. This is the XDS 3.3 45 caliber. This particular gun, the XDS, is based on the XD and has many of the same operating mechanisms, but it's a single stack, and it's designed for pocket carry, inside the waistband, possibly even ankle carry, where you're wanting the smallest possible gun, and in this case in 45 caliber. First of all, I'll show you that it is unloaded, and then I'll tell you a little bit about it. This particular line of pistols is available in 9mm and 45. This particular one is the bitone stainless steel slide. They also offer this in a melanite black finish on the slide. And you can also now get this in a flat dark earth frame. They've also fairly recently expanded the XDS line to include a series of 4-inch barrels. This is a 3.3. So last week we showed you the XDM 3.8 compact, and that had a 3.8-inch barrel. With the 3.3-inch barrel in this one, it's dimensionally about a ½ inch shorter in each direction. It's a ½ inch shorter front to back. It's 6.3 inches. And it's shorter top to bottom at 4.4 inches with the flush mag. And it comes in at 0.9 inches thick at the slide and frame. And you'll notice in this one the slide and frame happen to be almost identical size. They're very smooth. The entire gun is designed in a very smooth manner to facilitate its use in concealed carry. Like other guns in the XD line, it does have the grip safety, which does go flush when you grip it. And once you've got a proper firing grip on it, the grip safety automatically disengages and really becomes a non-issue. It has a drop-safe weapon. It does have a drop safety, which I'll show you when I disassemble it. And it has the split trigger, like the rest of the guns in the series, as part of the drop safety mechanism. This gun comes from the factory with a 5-round magazine and a 7-round magazine. The 5-round magazine, you notice it is a single stack. Stainless steel magazine, very solid and robust magazine. And you also have a 7-round magazine with a removable sleeve. And like the XDMs, the sleeve is sized, so if you buy the appropriate size sleeve, it will match up with the grip and match up with your choice of replaceable back straps. The grip texture on this is similar to that of the XDM. It's these little bitty squares. On the XDM, it didn't feel very aggressive. It is the same stippling that's on the XDS, but for whatever reason, maybe because of the single stack and the thinner grip, it felt more aggressive. So we ended up putting this Hogue grip on it to kind of tame that a little bit. One thing you want to be sure of if you put any kind of a grip on it is that the grip stops below the grip safety. You don't want the grip to defeat one of the safety mechanisms by holding the safety down. One of the other things you'll want to be aware of with this particular gun, there was a safety recall that related to the trigger mechanism and an opportunity if you cycled it without the grip safety and did a few other things in just the right order, it could fire when it went into battery. And this was resolved very quickly. Once they determined there was an issue, they issued a recall, you sent your gun back in, and they took care of it. And any guns that were made after that came with the fix already in place. And I'm going to try to show you this, the easiest way to determine if the recall's been done or not. On the grip safety, right here, it's going to be kind of tough to show it, there's a little roll pin right in front of my pointer. If your gun has that roll pin, then the safety has been, the recall has been done. If your gun doesn't have that roll pin, you'd want to contact Springfield and have the recall done. It's not a self-service thing. You can't just go buy a few parts and do the recall yourself. You do need to send it in. There's a few changes they're going to make to the trigger mechanism. The trigger on this is a decent trigger for the category of guns. It's not quite as smooth as an XDM, Glock, or some of the other triggers, but it's a very functional trigger. And one thing we did notice on this particular one, the trigger wasn't that nice when we first got it. After cycling it a number of times, the trigger smoothed out and got to the state it's at today, which is a decent trigger. So let me show it to you. Again, we do have an unloaded gun. A little bit of take up, And the take-up on this is a little bit gritty. It's not super smooth, but it's not a bad take-up. It is consistent. And then once you go through the take-up, there's a little bit of a long but a crisp break. Reset on this is almost all the way out. Pretty much just, a hair from all the way out. Again, the take-up and a long break. The trigger seems to be coming in about 6.5 pounds now that the gun's got a few rounds through it. Which, if you're looking at a concealed carry piece, a pocket piece, purse gun, which is really the market area they're targeting, you would potentially have it in something like this DeSantis Nemesis holster, which would allow you to safely stick it in a pocket and not have to worry about something getting into the trigger. That tends to be a typical trigger pull of guns in that particular territory. From a sight perspective, it does have nice sights. There are 3-dot sights with a fiber optic sight from the factory, so this came with the fiber optic. It had a red fiber in it, and we replaced it with the green just because of visibility. And one other thing you'll find is that the sights are steel. The rear sight is steel. It's not a polymer sight. They are dovetailed, so they're windage adjustable, both the front and the rear. And as I mentioned, you can replace this fiber tube with one of 2 colors, either red or green. And it comes in the box with the extra tubes. They're not night sights. It is just true fiber optic. The gun comes from the factory. In the original configuration, it came with the holster and the mag holders that Springfield puts in their suitcase style box. This is also available in a bundle called the Essentials Pack. And the Essentials Pack is basically the gun, one fewer magazine, and it dispenses with the holster and mag holders, which is good if you're not going to use them anyway. It does reduce the price a little bit. From a disassembly standpoint, it's a very easy to disassemble and maintain gun. What you do is you lock the slide back, flip the lever up. This one's a little bit more difficult to turn than the XDM, but it still could be done with just your fingers and no tool. The slide is under tension, so you would hold on to it and release it. Now, unlike the XDM, you need to bring it back to an in-battery position, and you do need to pull the trigger to release it. And then slide it off. Internally, this looks pretty much like just a small version of any of the other XDs. It has fairly long, nice robust steel rails at the front. And the rails on this at the back are also steel and fairly robust. It's a well-designed mechanism, clean and easy to maintain. Now the slide is, just looking at it, is just a thinner version of a standard striker slide. It does have a captive guide rod, which is steel, and it gives you a little bit of weight. This gun does handle recoil quite well, especially given the size and compactness of it. .3-inch barrel with a polished feed ramp, polished to a mirror finish. And this is the way it came from the factory. I didn't polish this feed ramp. Then when you look at the slide, it's a mini version of the XDM with one noticeable difference. The striker block on this is near the front like a Glock as opposed to being at the rear, but it is functional and it is a nice drop safe weapon. Assembly is fairly easy. You drop the barrel in, reinsert the recoil spring with the large end towards the front. There's a little well at the front of the barrel that you drop it into and give it a little push to make sure it's seated. Take the frame, line it up, slide it back on. Now what you do have to do is pull the slide all the way back and lock it back, which I'll go ahead and do. And then flip this lever back down, release the slide, and you're back in operation. So it's a very easy to clean and maintain gun. It's very easy to carry with its thin size and short grip. it does make a perfect concealed carry gun. And it's still reasonably pleasant to shoot at the range because it does do a good job of controlling recoil. You may or may not find the Hogue grip sleeve desirable. If you find that the stippling is a little bit too aggressive or your hand needs just a slightly bigger grip, you can use a combination of the interchangeable back straps and or a Hogue grip or other similar grip. So hang on for a little bit more range footage. If you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share. Have a great day.